Now, sometimes patients come to me, or people come to me, and they say like, you know, I've got a noise in this joint, or I've got a noise in this hip, or I've got a noise in this knee. You know, what does it mean? Is it bad? And it depends is the reality. Basically, noisy knees are very, very common, but it all depends on if there is actual pain or any symptoms or any swelling or anything. So they can be indicative of certain things. So you could get noises in knees that might be related to cartilage, related problems, meniscal problems. Sometimes it can be a patellofemoral pain syndrome, which is like a maltracking type issue of the kneecap, where it's slightly gliding to the side, and that could be causing a catch type of noise. But again, it depends if it hurts, because they found that a lot of these non-painful people have knees that track off to the lateral side as well. But there was a study done here which basically looked at in the knees like crepitus, we call this in a professional term, and they were looking at the incidence of people who basically were painful and pain-free. And what they found is 99% of people with noisy knees were actually pain-free. So this shows you that it's a very, very common feature, and it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a problem. You could even say, well, will it mean there is going to be a problem? And again, this is something which is hard to be definitive on, but it's very likely. I've had a noisy elbow in this elbow for all my life, and this elbow's fine. Arguably the only elbow injury I've ever had has been on the other side, which makes no noise. So certain things do make noises. Certain things are normal to make noises. Like some people will roll their ankle around or the wrist around, and that'll clunk a little bit. And that's sometimes tendons flicking over the ridges of bone as movement occurs. It's like a strumming kind of effect. The snapping hip syndrome in the hip, which again can be sort of tightness in the hip flexors, which again causes, when they're under load, it can cause some noises there as well. But again, not necessarily indicative of a problem. It can be in future terms, like if it gets really tight and you do a sport or an activity that involves a lot of use of that area, but generally doesn't inherently mean bad. Things just do make noises. So like I say, the study was interesting because it showed that 99% of people with noisy knees actually are pain-free. So when you feel like you've got some noise somewhere, don't necessarily worry about it. You know, if it starts to become painful or there's some issues with it, that's obviously when you get it looked into, as opposed to concerning yourself unduly about it. So anyway, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time.